Yo, welcome back to the GM Podcast. I'm Miller, and today we have our Week 10 recap. Obviously, Gavin's not here once again. This is going to be a frequent thing because he is hooping right now. So once again, continue to wish him luck. He's doing great. He's working hard. So he's not missing this for no reason. So let's get into it. First game, Cincinnati versus Baltimore. First thing I thought about, I told my dad this the other day. This is like watching Brady Manning, it felt like. These two quarterbacks are obviously top four in the league. If there's any other ranking, you're wrong. Joe Burrow had 428 for 4 touchdowns in this one. Lamar Jackson had 4 touchdowns as well. So these teams are great. The Bengals are going to be a team that I continue to root for, and it's because of one man, Joe Burrow. Jamar Chase obviously had 264 in this one with 3 touchdowns as well. This man is different. I don't know why people ever have him outside the top 5, and maybe if Jamar Chase didn't have Joe Burrow, he wouldn't be top 5, but he does, and Joe Burrow's that guy, and their connection is easily the best in the league, maybe other than CJ and Nico. But my thing about this is obviously Cincinnati's defense couldn't keep up, and I think that the way they lost this game was Chase Brown in that fumble that flipped the entire game. Zach Taylor made a questionable call to go for it instead of kicking the 3 to go up 24-20, which I thought was dumb because if you kick that field goal, then it's basically who can control the clock better. And if you think you can get the ball back with even a minute left, and Joe Burrow can go down after the Ravens score a touchdown and it's 27-24, he can get a field goal, then you rely on that coin flip. And if you get the ball first, you guys are going to score. So didn't like that call from Zach Taylor because I thought it was a little bit too aggressive. He thought that was the game right there when it wasn't. He could have took the points. And I've had a lot of problems with Zach Taylor this year. I think offensively his schemes are extremely sound. I think they're great. Situationally, I don't think he's the greatest coach. Derrick Henry only had 16 carries in this one. Baltimore, I don't trust. I'm going to be real. I might be the lowest on Baltimore out of a lot of people. This team, it feels like first off, the pass defense, that doesn't even have to be explained. I mean, how do you even let Jamar Chase run a post like that, a bang 8 post, and no one's over top, no one's even in phase, no one's even. I don't think he was touched that play. So that pass defense is an extreme issue. I have no reason to believe it will get better. Derrick Henry, and if you're not going through Derrick Henry, you're wrong because once again, if we see a Lamar Jackson Patrick Mahomes showdown and I see Lamar Jackson lose again, then we're going to be talking because once again. Lamar Jackson by the end of his career might be the best quarterback behind Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady. This dude is literally, he's about to get his 3rd MVP, and he clinched it by week 10, which is ridiculous. And, dude, if Lamar loses another one to the Chiefs, what is the belief after that? It's going to be bad. So hopefully they can get some things fixed. I'm not as high as Baltimore, like I said, as some other teams in the AFC, which might be an extremely hot take, but I'm just not. And we'll see in their game versus Pittsburgh this week, who I am extremely high on. Also, Cincinnati plays the Chargers, who I have Cincinnati in that one. Next game, the Giants in Carolina. This was a game that I didn't tune in until the 4th quarter because it was extremely close. Chuba Hubbard, no one knows this guy's name, but he's been good in Carolina for a while now, it feels like. Carolina's building. I think their culture is improving. And weirdly, this sounds crazy. Obviously, Coker, Leggett, they have some nice receivers. They have Hubbard, that nice running back. Continue to develop Bryce Young. In this quarterback class, if you're not getting the first pick, if you're not getting Shedeur Sanders, you're not really getting anybody special. Cam Ward might be a guy. He might be, but I see a lot of backyard football qualities with him. Maybe if you can develop him right, he could be good. I think he's a good prospect, but he's obviously not Shedeur. I think, by the way, the Giants do have the first pick, and they are off of Daniel Jones, and I think they should go after Shedeur because this team, when you really look at this roster, I mean, you have Malik Neighbors. You have a guy like Tyrone Tracy who obviously lost his game for you. Props to you because you gave him a better pick. Don't be sad about it. I know you were crying after the game, but you had a great game as well. He's a great running back. He looks explosive as a running back, maybe upper echelon of the league, and people didn't even know about him. If you get another receiver and you get a quarterback like Shedeur Sanders who will want to play in a big market, the Giants could be a team to watch out for, and as an Eagles fan, I don't want to see that because Washington just got Jaden Daniels. So I don't think the Giants are in the worst shape. I think it's better that they do keep losing. Daniel Jones, oh my gosh. Daniel Jones, I actually like watching Daniel Jones because I low-key, like, I don't think it could get worse when I watch him the next game, and it does. Like, the throws he was missing in this one were impressive. But yeah, Bryce Young, that's what I was getting to. Bryce Young. This guy is a guy that doesn't have the athletic capabilities to keep up in this league. What he does have that is interesting is at times he shows traits of extreme accuracy. His only comp in NFL history for me is Drew Brees. Drew Brees. If he can be Drew Brees, they can be good. I'm not saying he is Drew Brees, but if he can show qualities like that, I will continue to develop this guy because, like I said, you're not getting a better quarterback than Bryce Young in this draft. I'm going to be real because, like I said, Bryce Young can be extremely accurate. And with these quarterbacks, I mean, Carson Beck was in the upper echelon of QBs in this draft. And we've seen Carson Beck this year. Jalen Milroe, I wouldn't try to go get Jalen Milroe unless I'm really trying to – well, I could see a world where they get Jalen Milroe. But I don't know, man. I will continue to build this team. I don't think it's as bad as people think. And with the small market, you're really just trying to build up some excitement for this franchise. So be patient. Continue to build this culture. Carolina, you're in good shape. The Giants are in good shape as well for a bad team. Both teams that I think will keep their coach for next season. So that's why I say that they have good cultures. New England versus Chicago. I might spend a lot of time on this game because I have a lot to say. First off, New England. Drake May, I like what I'm seeing from Drake May. Interestingly enough, before this draft happened, I was bigger. I thought Drake May was the best quarterback in this draft. You could ask Gav. Now, I did agree with taking Caleb number one because it felt like Caleb was going to get taken number one since last year on the first snap of college football. But I always did like Drake May. He's always shown me flashes of Justin Herbert. He's a rookie, so his feet are not there yet. His feet are horrible. I've watched it continuously. But as far as his arm talent, his poise, the personality he brings, I think Drake May can be a really good quarterback in this league. Once again, this offseason, he needs to work on his feet. If that doesn't work, then you might have a lot of issues. But, yeah, I think this Patriots roster is another one like the Giants and Carolina to where it's an upward trend. I don't see anything this season to where you're feeling worse than you did at the beginning. They have Keyshawn Boutte. They have Demario Douglas who are making some plays. If they get another receiver, some more explosive on the outside and continue to build this defense, continue to stay with this defensive culture, New England can continue to grow. And that's what I like to see from New England, especially now that they don't have Brady. I don't really hate New England anymore. On the Chicago side, Caleb Williams is a bad quarterback. Caleb Williams is 23rd in passing yards, which is bad considering 12 teams have not started the same quarterback all 10 games, which means that's more quarterbacks than his ranking is, which is 23rd. So he's basically last in the league. He has 9 touchdowns and 5 interceptions on the league, which is less than a touchdown a game. He has a 71.55 QB rating. I don't know where that ranks, but yeah, Caleb Williams is not a good quarterback right now. And this is what I want to bring it back to. I'm going to compare this guy to someone I don't know if you guys would expect, but when I talk about my quarterbacks, I value personality. I value who this guy is going to be in my locker room. So Caleb Williams, right? He's never did anything wrong. What he has done, he jumped in his mom's arms after a USC loss and cried in their arms, hiding his face in front of the entire country. He painted his nails bright pink before the season started, and that's that. What those things aren't are bad things. What those things are distractions. Things like that are distractions. People like DJ Moore see that, they become disconnected. People like Keenan Allen see that, they become disconnected. I've never liked the personality of this guy. I'm going to be real. I never thought he had the face to make it as an NFL quarterback. Me and Gavin both were okay with him being the number one pick because, like we said, he was going to be the number one pick regardless, right? So we never thought about anything else. But I think I don't know who Gavin liked, but I know he didn't like Caleb Williams. So the guy I wanted to compare him to was Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence is a guy who's another guy that his personality doesn't sit right with me as well. that viral clip of him giving that pregame speech and his energy is like, all right, guys, let's go out and win this game. Let's just go compete. That means something. That means something. As an NFL quarterback, you are expected to be the leader of that team and at least the offense. And if Trevor Lawrence, I couldn't have Trevor Lawrence as my quarterback because of those things, because of the energy he brings, which is none. So when we bring up these things, and Trevor Lawrence had a horrible rookie year as well, and Trevor Lawrence has, I don't know how many years he's been in the league, maybe 5. He has one good year. So 1 out of 5, that's an outlier, which means Trevor Lawrence isn't really a great quarterback. The difference between Trevor Lawrence and Caleb Williams, Trevor Lawrence has the tools to sometimes give you flashes. Caleb Williams doesn't. Caleb Williams hasn't displayed accuracy. Caleb Williams, people say he's an athlete. I haven't seen any elite athletic qualities. Caleb Williams isn't a great deep ball thrower. Caleb Williams doesn't have anything right now. Caleb Williams isn't even pushing the ball downfield. He has 9 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. I would be much more comfortable if this guy had 12 touchdowns and 16 interceptions, quite frankly. This guy is not a great quarterback. I don't see how people think it's going to get better. I know Nick Wright was like, oh, Caleb, I wouldn't sell your Caleb Williams stock. I'm selling all my Caleb Williams stock right now because I've never seen anything to make this guy a great quarterback. He has Keenan Allen. He has Rome Odunze. He has DeAndre Swift. He has DJ Moore. He has all these guys, and their offensive line has not been as bad as people have said. This guy has been sacked so many times, and it's mostly because of him. If you go watch the film on this New England game, you are going to throw up because of how bad this guy looked. So, obviously, the coaching hasn't helped either. Their OC just got fired. He was the scapegoat. But I think this is really a Caleb Williams problem because when Justin Fields was there, you never heard anything from Justin Fields but great things from his teammates, especially DJ Moore. And now look how DJ Moore is disconnected from this team. So, like I said, Caleb Williams, I never saw the hype, and I'm not right on everything, but I was right on this. So, Caleb Williams, I am selling my stock. Next game, we got Denver versus KC. Bo Nix is improving week by week. And by the way, Caleb Williams is the 4th best rookie quarterback right now. Bo Nix looked great in this one. That conversion at the end was impressive. Me and my father were watching, and it was just great to see this guy do that. Me and Gavin have talked the entire season. I was calling Bo Nix trash at the beginning of the year. I won't lie, so I was wrong about that. But yeah, I can't hate. He has continued to grow, and because at the beginning of the year, his accuracy was definitely at least questionable. Now, I mean, I don't know. This guy is good. This guy is good. Sean Payton is building something in Denver. They don't even have a lot of firepower on offense. So I don't know, man. Denver could be a good team. Denver is obviously in the playoff picture right now. So yeah, I would keep an eye out for Bo Nix and his continued growth. But I think the story about this one is on KC. This team just knows how to win. I mean, this game, I don't think anybody expected this team to win in that moment. And what happens? George Karlaftis runs someone over on the field goal. First off, that dude on Denver who got ran over, I don't know who it was. What are you doing? What are you doing, man? I mean, hold your block. But anyways, yeah. Kareem Hunt was the leading receiver in this one, and they still found a way to win. That's all I have to say about the Chiefs. The Chiefs are whatever you want to say. If you think they're in a slump offensively, if you think defensively they're overrated, what they do is win. They're on a 15-game winning streak since last year. It's just extremely impressive. And I'll get to another team that's figured that out as well. I think you guys know who that is, but we'll get to that later. Pittsburgh versus Washington. All I got on this one, Pittsburgh are contenders. Pittsburgh are contenders. I will repeat that one more time. Pittsburgh are contenders. Who do I have Pittsburgh over in this conference? I have Pittsburgh over Baltimore. I have Pittsburgh over Buffalo. I have Pittsburgh over the Chargers. I have Pittsburgh over the Bengals. I have Pittsburgh over a lot of great teams in this conference. And why that is because I'm seeing Russell Wilson play some great football. Russell Wilson, when he was great, was easily considered a top 5 quarterback league-wide. And now he has a number 1 guy. And this offense is clicking on all cylinders. And you may think, oh, well, this is just a fluke. Guys, this team has George Pickens, Mike Williams, Calvin Austin, who's their speed guy, Pat Freiermuth, who is a great tight end, 2 great running backs, and Najee Harris and Jalen Warren, and that quarterback who's throwing the best deep ball in football right now. So there's no reason and a great coach and a great defense, obviously, and that's been like that for the last couple of years. So I am extremely high on Pittsburgh. Obviously, I have nobody over the Chiefs. I won't have anybody over the Chiefs until they actually do get beat. I still like Houston. I'm a big advocate of Houston. I won't quit on Houston. I think a lot of people have sold their stock on Houston, but I haven't. I love the Steelers, man. Like I said, Russell Wilson is playing great football. I told Gavin this, I think, last week. If this team can play, if Russell Wilson can be anywhere near what he was in the early years of Seattle, I mean, last year in Denver, he wasn't a bad quarterback. The last years in Seattle, he wasn't a bad quarterback. So, yeah, this guy is going to lead this team to a lot of wins. Obviously, they have a tough schedule at the end, but, I mean, they do have 2 games against the Browns, which is divisional, but the Browns right now are the Browns. So, yeah, on the Washington side, I still think Washington is a good team. I think they will lose to Philly this week just because of matchups, but Jaden Daniels was 50% this week, so, you know, people are starting to figure him out. He's a rookie quarterback. He's going to be fine. But, yeah, the Washington is still a good team. They're going to make the playoffs. They're probably going to be a 5 seed if I was looking forward to that. Play either Atlanta or the winner of the NFC West. So that's going to be extremely interesting. I think Washington is still going to win a playoff game, and I don't want people to overreact to this loss because I still think they're a good football team. Minnesota versus Jacksonville. I am selling all my Minnesota Vikings stock. They are trash because of one man, Sam Darnold. He turned into a pumpkin again. I expected this. I told Gavin. I think Gavin expected this as well. Sam Darnold is just not. It's not there anymore. He had it for a little bit, but he doesn't. 3 interceptions against the Jacksonville Jaguars, who are not a great defense at all, is pathetic. Pathetic. And the way he threw these interceptions were even more pathetic. How he locked on to receivers, especially Justin Jefferson, and just, he's over there somewhere. Come on, man. Come on, man. I'm selling all my stock on Minnesota, especially with their division being as good as it is. They have games against Green Bay, Detroit, Arizona, Atlanta, and 2 games against Chicago, which I think they'll lose 1 because it is divisional. I don't think Chicago is good, but I think they'll lose 1. So that's 5 more losses. That's 7-7 if you think about that. And then Tennessee, they'll probably win that one. Chicago, they'll probably get one of those. They're definitely going to get one of those at least. And then Seattle is going to be a key game for them. I don't even know if this team is going to make the playoffs. I don't. Hopefully, maybe 9 wins is enough. Maybe 10 wins is enough. 10 wins will probably be enough, but if they only get to 9 wins, and like I said, I just listed off that schedule. Arizona's playing good football. Atlanta isn't a horrible football team. Chicago is a divisional opponent. They're not beating Green Bay or Detroit in their end-of-season stretch because Detroit is still competing for that 1 seed with Philly, who's winning a lot of games as well. So I can't believe in Minnesota. Jacksonville, they are the least desirable location for a head coach in the league right now. If I'm them, I might move to Orlando, just right down the street. You might be better that way. Maybe Tuscaloosa. I don't know. Who else needs a football team? Maybe move to San Antonio. I don't know. Jacksonville, I just don't believe in them. And even I actually do like Trevor Lawrence as a I think he's so talented. But once again, his personality is just dry. It doesn't create any excitement. And I think in these small market teams, I was talking about Carolina earlier, building excitement for your franchise is extremely important. I don't think Trevor Lawrence does that. So, you know, Jacksonville is just horrible. There's nothing else to say about that one. Atlanta versus New Orleans. Young-Ho Koo missed 3 field goals in this one. I don't think that'll continue to happen. If it does, they're cooked. But I'm not going to overreact to Atlanta's loss in this one. I never thought they were the greatest team anyway. And that's because their back end is pathetic. Derek Carr threw a touchdown to Marquez Valdez-Scantling, and the picture of it was an extreme picture because you literally saw Marquez Valdez-Scantling catching the ball over A.J. Terrell, Justin Simmons, and you guessed it, Jesse Bates. So, I mean, they have to start performing better. Raheem Morris, I thought he was a defensive coach. I'm not seeing it. I think Kirk Cousins is actually having a great year. I think he's overperforming. What I do like seeing from this offense, Bijan had 120 yards in this game. So, yeah, I think that's important to get their rushing attack established. But as far as that back end, that concerns me deeply because if your all pros aren't making plays, and even if it's a scheme thing, they're all pros. They should be able to step in and make plays, but they're not doing that right now. So I don't know about Atlanta, but they will win that division. So I think they'll lose in the first round to whether they play Washington, I don't know who they play, but yeah, I'm not really big believers in them. They'll probably play either Washington or Green Bay is what I'm looking at because those are going to be the best wild card teams. Or Philly. And on the Saints side, Derek Carr turns into a top 5 quarterback when his team is about to get a top 5 draft pick. So props to Derek Carr in this one. Marquez Valdez-Scantling had 109 yards in the big year of 2024. Atlanta, you got to get better, man. You got to get better. If you want to actually be playoff contenders, you got to get better. San Fran versus Tampa Bay. Baker is a top 10 quarterback, undoubtedly at this point. He's gave us 2 seasons of just great quarterback play. His leading receiver in his game was Rachaad White. I mean, you don't have your top 2 receivers, and you go to the end with the talented team like the San Francisco 49ers. Baker Mayfield, I love this dude is a gamer, and I just love gamers, guys that love to compete. He goes out there and loves to compete. Ricky Pearsall in this game had 4 receptions for 73 yards, so he's coming alive. That's good for the 49ers. Brock Purdy had 353. Like I said, he's solidifying himself as a good quarterback in this league as well this year. I think that Chiefs game was more of a fluke and the Chiefs having a good defense than Brock Purdy being a bad quarterback. Also, they were missing some weapons in that game as well, so I think Purdy is a good quarterback. Jake Moody went 3 for 6 on field goals, and Deebo Samuel punched the long snapper in the face, obviously. I feel like that has to be addressed. But that being said, I don't know how I feel about it. I don't know because he punched him in the face and he went on to make the game-winning field goal. So was it a mistake? I don't know. I have no clue. But what I do know is if he's kicking 6 field goals, that means you didn't convert as an offense. So unless that you're going to let that guy hit you back, and as a long snapper, he's probably not entitled to. They can find another long snapper next week. I feel like that was a horrible leadership move by Deebo Samuel, and yeah, I didn't like that move very much from Deebo, but Debo's a great football player. I think they'll be fine. Like I said, the fact that he made that last field goal made that situation kind of irrelevant in my opinion. But yeah, I think they'll be fine. I don't think they're a great team by any stretch of the imagination. Their special teams is probably the worst in the league right now. But we'll see. We'll see where this team goes. Obviously, Kyle Shanahan usually has these guys ready for the playoffs, so we will see. Buffalo versus Indy. Flacco had 3 interceptions in this one. Like I said last week, I don't know why people think Flacco. I've heard so much. Flacco is a top half quarterback. The only reason he doesn't have a job is because he's an older guy. Flacco has not been a top 16 quarterback in about 10 years. And that's really all I have to say about that. Joe Flacco had, like I said, he had 3 interceptions in this one. Shane Steichen is absolutely getting screwed by his quarterback play as of right now. Their last 3 opponents have been Bills, Vikings, and Texans, who are 3 great opponents. And, or I don't know, but well, the Vikings were great when they played them. Well, they almost lost to them too. So I don't know. Like I said, the Vikings are not looking very good. But back to the Colts. Shane Steichen, don't try to come for his job. He might just need. I would continue to just at the end of this year continue to develop Anthony Richardson, which they're doing. They're starting him this week, and we'll see where that goes. They started this season off 4-3. You can't really ask for much more than that with this roster. Jonathan Taylor had 114 yards in this game. So yeah, I think the Colts, as far as coach, I think they have a nice little thing building up there. They just need to get their quarterback right, and that's easier said than done. Buffalo is I'm not high on Buffalo. I don't know what it is about Buffalo that I'm not high on either. It's just it feels like just what they've been. Just a great regular season team. But when it gets to those, we'll see how they really look at the end of the season when Amari Cooper, Keon Coleman, Dalton Kincaid are all in there. We really haven't seen that yet other than one game, and that was their first. But I need to see more consistency from that side of the ball because I think Josh Allen had 2 interceptions in this one with 0 touchdowns. So, yeah, I don't know. I think I got to see more from Buffalo. I'm not really buying. People have said they've looked impressive, and Let me call out the worst take of the week I've seen so far. Colin Cowherd had the Buffalo Bills as the second best team in the league. Are you serious? I can name 5 now that are better than the Buffalo Bills. The Chiefs are better than the Buffalo Bills. The Ravens are better than the Buffalo Bills. The Steelers are better than the Buffalo Bills. The Eagles are better than the Buffalo Bills. The Lions are better than the Buffalo Bills. I could probably keep going. I think the Commanders might. No, the Commanders aren't. I'm sorry. Commanders are not better than Buffalo Bills. But I also think the Packers and the Texans are teams that you could say are better than the Buffalo Bills. So, and teams that I actually would say, although that might sound crazy. I think the Buffalo Bills are the 8th best team in football right now. So I'm not really buying stock on them as far as them getting to a Super Bowl. I just don't see it. But yeah, I just don't see it. Next game, we got Tennessee and the Chargers. Really all I got from the Tennessee side. Will Levis played a great game in this one. But he likes mayonnaise. So he won't make it. Yeah, that's all I got. I'm sorry that I froze a little bit there, but that, like, just thinking about the fact that someone can just love mayonnaise makes me, it's grotesque. Calvin really is an elite receiver. He is an elite receiver. This guy, it's just different. It's different. Like, I wish he would get a quarterback. I wish someone would trade for this guy. And honestly, onto the Chargers side, I feel like the Chargers should have traded for a guy like Calvin really when they could have, because I'm not buying stock on the Chargers right now either. I think a lot of people love the Chargers, but the Chargers are a team that have no explosiveness on the outside. I mean, Ladd McConkey is a good receiver. He's going to be even better in years to come. Same thing with Quentin Johnston. But I don't think they were in a position to where they had to wait this year. I think they could have went all in, especially with how they consistently play the Chiefs hard. They could have been a team with the way Justin Herbert is playing right now. Have you guys watched Justin Herbert play football this year? I don't think you have. Justin Herbert looks great. And for them to not have anybody on that outside for him to give it to is honestly a failure by that management office. And I wish they could have surrounded him with more by the trade deadline. But we'll see where that team goes. I think they're a playoff team that doesn't win a game. And I think most people think that as well. Jets versus Arizona. I'm not going to give a lot of time to the Jets. I think a lot of people have given time to the Jets, and that's not going to be me. I'm tired of talking about them. They're just not there. Aaron Rodgers is Wizards of Michael Jordan. He's bad. He can't do what he did. This team is just not good. They're not well coached. It's a dumpster fire. And honestly, the Jets might be up there with the Jags with one of the worst jobs for a head coach in football. Now, I did want to talk about Arizona, though. Kyler Murray can win some playoff games. Kyler Murray can compete with a lot of teams because of his talent. So this team is a scary team is what I'm getting to. This team is a scary team. Obviously, I didn't have them in that upper echelon when I was naming my top teams because I haven't seen enough consistency from them as far as their history. I don't have any history from them. I remember when Kyler Murray played the Rams and he was getting sacked the entire game. He played a horrible game in the playoffs the year they won, I believe. The Rams won. But Kyler Murray right now is the 25th most sacked quarterback in football. Kyler Murray right now has 3 great running backs in that backfield. Kyler Murray has a great receiver on the outside in Marvin Harrison Jr., and he also has Trey McBride at tight end. This team is scary, man. This team's defense is playing out of their mind right now. They obviously beat San Fran, and their schedule, I mean, they have 49ers at the end of the year. They have the Rams, and they have the Seahawks. And that division, these divisional games are something we're going to have to pay attention to because that's going to be their challenge at the end of the day. Their challenge is going to be what can they do in these last 4 divisional matchups to put them in playoff contention and to put them maybe even as the division winners. Because I don't know. I think it's possible at this point with the way Minnesota is playing that 2 teams can get in from the NFC West, but I don't think it's likely. I think that game at the end of the year, 49ers and Cardinals, that's probably going to be the most important game of that week. And we're going to see who Arizona really is in that game. Hopefully they can put themselves in position to where that game doesn't mean as much because I think they have like the Panthers. I think they play the Vikings, who I think they'll beat. I think they have the Patriots, who I think they'll beat, who they definitely will beat, sorry. But yeah, Arizona is playing great. Kyler Murray in this game was extremely impressive. I mean, the way he throws the football, like I was talking about Caleb Williams earlier, Kyler Murray is accurate, deadly accurate. Especially when he has time, and he is crazy enough an elite athlete as far as him running the ball. Dude is extremely fast. All right, Philly versus versus Dallas. Sorry, Philly has probably the most talented roster in the league. My team probably has the most talented roster in this league. I actually didn't watch this game because of how we started it. Obviously, it was a divisional game, so I shouldn't have expected it to be perfect. But God, I mean, I'm really scared of how we're gonna play in the playoffs because I don't know how well coached we are. We're just gonna have to wait. I do love this team. I do love how Jalen Hurts is playing. Obviously, he had that bad fumble. But, yeah, I do love how this team is playing, but I really don't have a lot to say about my Eagles after this one because it was belt to ass. But I do have a lot to say about the Cowboys. Actually, I don't have a lot to say about the Cowboys. I mean, they had 49 passing yards on the day, so, yeah, that's hilarious in my opinion. But what I want to talk about is Micah Parsons. And while I talk about Micah Parsons, I don't even want to make a take. I just want to ask you guys. I want to ask all my Cowboys fans out there. Do you guys want Micah Parsons on your team? Because if I had Micah Parsons on my team and he was talking like he was talking, I wouldn't want him anymore. This guy has more podcast clips than highlights this year. I mean, him calling out Mike McCarthy and then acting like he didn't know what he said it's ridiculous. I mean, he had the right purpose at the beginning of that message. His message was basically, I'm not worried about Mike McCarthy because he can go coach somewhere else. Zach Martin can't suit up and play for 10 more years, right? That was a great message. But then you say Zach Martin has worked harder than Mike McCarthy ever has? Dude. I mean, I'll be real with you, it comes off as stupid. Like, nothing else but stupid. Like, this guy is a stupid person. On this podcast, I'm sorry. Every time I see him on a podcast, something stupid comes out of his mouth. When he's naming top 10 quarterbacks and he doesn't name Dak Prescott, who obviously is a big loss when you have 49 passing yards on the day, what is your problem? Like, if I'm Dallas, I'm trading Micah Parsons, which Jerry Jones isn't going to do that because it's Jerry Jones. It's the worst GM owner in football. But if it's me, I'm getting Micah Parsons out of there because you know how much you can get with Micah Parsons. I mean, this guy is a good football player. I'm trading him right now. Or, I'm sorry, you can't trade him right now. It's not going to happen because the trade deadline's passed. But this offseason, I'm looking to build up my roster because, man, it hurts my heart for Cowboys fans having to hear this guy. I mean, I don't know how they feel. I don't even know how Cowboys feel about Micah Parsons, but that's why I'm asking you guys. You guys let me know because maybe I'm tripping, but if I had to, even when Darius Slay was on his, I was mad at my player Darius Slay for being on his podcast, being friendly with the ops. That's not what this is about. Football isn't about that. Football is about competing with those guys. We are not friends, especially in the season. What is wrong with you? In this generation, we think we could just, bro, I'm not a football player, so I'm a hop on this podcast proudly or I'm not a football player anymore. So I'm going to hop on this proudly and speak my truth because as far as I'm concerned, I'm not having to go against the Eagles next week. So, I don't know. That's just me. I would never, in my conference, make a podcast with a guy on the opposing team. I don't know. That's just me. Detroit versus Houston. What I alluded to earlier with the Chiefs. Detroit has just found ways to win. They had 5 interceptions in this one, which 3 of them I don't think was Goff's fault, so I wouldn't overreact to Goff being really, really bad in this game. I think even the one of Jameson Williams was a miscommunication. So the Lions are a great football team. I'm scared of them, honestly, as an Eagles fan. I don't see anybody beating Detroit because they're rushing defense, and they didn't even let Joe Mixon. I don't know if he had a 10-yard run in this game, other than the jet sweep. There was nothing they could do on the ground, and so yeah, I don't even want to talk about Detroit. Their rushing defense is tremendous. That back end maybe can be exposed, but they have 2 great safeties back there. Brian Branch might be my favorite DB in football right now. That dude is all over the field, and Terrion Arnold. I think the Eagles could have success targeting him with Smitty because I think Carlton something, I forgot his name, but he's going to be guarding A.J. Brown most of the time. So I think we can expose that part. But, yeah, I'm not really scared of I'm scared of Detroit because they're too deep. And they've unlocked the key to winning at this point. I thought they were going to have a slump after losing in that bad fashion that they did to San Fran, but they absolutely haven't. Houston, I'm not selling my stock on Houston. CJ Stroud is about to get Nico back, and CJ Stroud is having a sophomore slump. I'm not going to lie to you, but I think he'll be fine. I think, like I said, with Nico coming back, his play is only going to improve, and this is still a scary team. I saw how this defense played against Detroit, and they were extremely opportunistic. You could kind of say it's kind of like how Philly dropped off the next year, but no, it's not. Houston isn't going to stop playing for DeMeco Ryans. So, yeah, I like Houston. I still like Houston. I actually think Houston. This is my thing. I think Baltimore might be the third best team in the AFC because I do like the Steelers that much, but I don't think the Baltimore has the best odds to get to the. I don't even think Baltimore has better odds to get to the Super Bowl than Houston, which might be crazy, but that's just what it is. Because that passing defense is that bad in Baltimore. So don't sell all your stock on Houston. Defensively, they play great in this one, and yeah, we'll see what they can do when Nico comes back. But last game of the week, Monday Night Football, Miami and the Rams. I actually had 0 notes on this one because nothing really happened. Matthew Stafford hit his guys, and they couldn't convert in the red zone. The biggest story in this one was Miami's red zone defense. Tyreek Hill only had 16 yards receiving, I believe is what I remember. But Miami, I've been saying this about Miami for 2 years. That system doesn't equate to winning at the highest level. It equates to winning in the regular season, which they just did. And Tua made some plays down the stretch that displayed his accuracy, and no one has ever doubted his accuracy, but this isn't a team that can win at the highest level. So, yeah, that's all I'm going to say about them. The Rams, it was a very disappointing loss for them because I thought they're really setting themselves back in the standings, especially with the Cardinals being 6-4. I still think the Rams are good. I still think they can make a run, but they have to start that run now. And if they have another loss, I'm out. I'm out on the Rams. So, yeah. Thank you guys for tuning in. Obviously, we'll be back in the studio soon with Gavin, talking about these things as well, talking about some other things. We got some stuff cooking up for you guys, some different video ideas. So, yeah, those things will be coming very fast. But thank you guys for tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe, and peace out.